Welcome to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. My name is Amy and I'm from the channel Flip It Furniture. Today we're going to be making over this gorgeous vanity using chalk mineral paint. For a list of all the products I use in this video and where to buy them, be sure to check out the description box below. Now let's flip it. I'm taking off all the hardware and I'm just going to clean it up with some Dawn dish soap. I know that I'm going to use gilding wax and keep the original hardware. I do find that there are two pieces of the hardware that's original and then two pieces that are not original, and you can see that right here. One's a little bit brighter, it's a different design, but whoever had this before, they actually matched it up pretty good. So now I'm using Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner to clean the piece up. I have to use my gloves for this because it has some TSP in it, which is a chemical. I go all the way to the back to make sure that I get any gunk or junk out. We just want to make sure that it's super clean. And then I am using Dixie Belle's Boss, which it covers odors and it covers any tannins or bleed through or stains that might come through. So it's like insurance, just for protection, I added this primer. And I did 2 coats, waiting for it to dry in between coats. Now I'm only gonna paint this section, this middle section of the vanity. And that's because I wanna keep the rest of it with the natural wood. And I am taping off the parts inside the drawers where I don't want painted. I like the nice clean lines. Now, for the color I chose, it's Dixie Belle's new color, English Ivy, from the Cottage collection. Now after I painted it, it took about 3 coats to cover it. I used my spray gun and I gave it 3 coats of satin. Now you can see I'm only painting this middle section of the vanity. I'm not doing the mirror, I'm not doing the legs, I'm not doing the top, just this middle section. So I waited like 2 hours in between coats before I did anything else. My next step is to add the Dixie Belle's Best Staying Wax in brown. This is where I wanted to give it that woodsy, kind of darken it up. I want this to be, I love that, I don't know, that dramatic look. I don't want to say it's like gothic because it's not gothic. I can't put my finger on it, but I love the style. It's just sort of a darker, you know, you can take this pop of color and darken it up with the wax. And here I'm just testing it out. I'm trying to figure out, do I just want it in those details or do I want the whole thing waxed? So Dixie Belle's Best Dang Wax is water-based. I love using this wax because it's like a decorative finish for me. I don't use it to seal my piece, but I use it for these accents. I use it as just another really fun, like I would use gilding wax, just a new way to spruce up the piece. And I sealed the piece first so that I can manipulate the wax better. I have way more control over it. You can remove it with such ease. If you put the wax right on top of the chalk paint, it's really hard to remove because it sticks to it like glue. So I mean, you can remove it, just use your clear wax with it, but that's a whole thing. So if you just seal it first, then you can easily, put on or remove your wax. And over the years, I figured out different brushes make different looks. If I wanted it to get in the details, I would use my French tip brush, something pointy. And as you can see, I'm using a dry brush that I didn't use, just a clean dry brush to kind of take some of that wax buildup off. I don't want it to look super waxy. I just want the wax to sort of darken the color. I'm looking for that shadowy look. So on the larger areas, I'm just putting it on and I'm swirling it. I'm not sticking it in the corners or, anything like that. I'm just swirling it over the piece. And then I'm gonna take some of it off with that dry, clean brush. It's pretty incredible, all the different looks that you can get just by using a different brush or a different hand motion. And you won't really figure it out until you play around with it. Like here, I'm swirling the dry brush before I was moving it back and forth in the front. Now for this, I'm just swirling it because I want it to look like a blended, just like almost like it's just part of the piece, like it was part of the green. It's just blended darker shadows. And here's an example of what it looks like without the wax and then with the wax. I like for you to see it, like, you can see that really polished look and then that sort of that artistic look on it. And now for the raised details, we're gonna add the bronze gilding wax. And I use my finger for this. You could also use a brush. And I also use it on the details on top of the mirror. For all of the wood sections, I'm using Big Mama's Butter. It is a salve. It smells super good. This one is Orange Grove. And I'm just gonna use this to polish up that wood. I put the salve on, I wait about 20 minutes, and then I wipe it down, any excess. And then the next day, I give it a nice wipe down again, just in case anything's sitting over the finish. It just keeps it clean. It makes it look polished. It brings it back to life. You can actually see it in when I'm doing the legs. I'm gonna come, that's not done, that's done. That's not done. I mean, that's a pretty big difference. Bringing it back to life, and it does provide a seal for it. I think you can reapply the salve like every 3 weeks if you want, but it's not necessary. I just thought, you know, it would make it look nice. It would bring it all together. The wood's in great shape with or without it, but it's just an extra step I could take. So then for that top, I finished that with bronze, and then I thought, you know what, that bronze isn't enough. So I did add some of the golden gilding wax to make it pop a little bit more. And I added a tiny bit of the gold to the hardware also, just to make it pop a little bit more, to brighten it up. And here's a reminder of what we had before. It was great, but it needed a little something. And here it is with the little something. And look how nice and polished our wood is. And then all of these, the gilding wax on top of those details, just it brought it out so much. It's a huge difference. You couldn't really see any of the details before. And I will see you next time with another furniture makeover.